They say we've got a long way to go, but can you tell me? Can you tell me? Can you tell me where are we now? This road still has its ups and downs. Sometimes I smile, turn into frowns. This life is such a challenging day, but in spite of it all, we still come a long way. Now can you tell me which road to take? Though this journey in my life I can make, so can you tell me? Can you tell me where are we
All right. Hello, baby mister.
Hello, hello.
It's a wonderful, wonderful day, and I am so thankful to God because He has blessed us to be here today in
Yes,
front of you one more time.
one more
And
time.
yes, and I want to say that Cleester was planning, she was planning to be with us today, but she got called into work. And then we know that Eula is working also, but she sent a message and she said she has spring break coming up in March. So, God willing, she'll be able to be with us during her spring break. But we have Merethah here. The two of us are here today, and we just thank God because He has allowed us to be here today.
Yes.
And my topic is why her slash his story is important. I believe that's the name of it. I did put yours on there, didn't I? Did I?
Yes, you did. You did.
Okay. Do you see it going across there?
Yes, I see yours going across. Yes.
What about yours?
No, it's not there.
Okay, well, I have it in the heading here.
Yeah.
So I will go ahead and change that while you're doing yours. And so,
Yay.
dear God, as we sit before you to speak, we pray to you that our souls you will keep. And if we should die before we finish, we pray to you, dear God, in the name of Jesus, that any outstanding sins will be forgiven. Amen. We're so grateful to God. So grateful. And like we thank Him for blessing us to witness these changing seasons every week.
Every week.
Yesterday, it was 70 something degrees, and today it's 40 something degrees. And so we're just happy that we're able to witness it because we know that whatever God is doing is for our good because we love Him. So I have no complaints.
I
No
don't either.
complaints. And so this is Thursday. We're still in Heritage Month. Thursday, this is the 16th, right?
Yes. Yes.
Of February in the year 2023. And I'm going to uh, give you to Maritha for her presentation. Oh, but I want you to see something before I go into it. I want you to see my shirt. My
Uh,
cousin Tasha, our cousin Tasha,
I speak
she
my
makes.
mind because
I don't like. I don't like to. I bite my tongue. Let me see. Let me get it. Let me get it because I did have it right here. Okay.
I speak my mind because it hurts to bite my tongue.
I finally got some t-shirts from Tasha, and I have another one that I got. It's a Walking by Faith and has these beautiful uh, sequined heels on it, and it said
Oh,
"Walk by
wow.
Faith." Yes, so Tasha Moore and Tasha. Oh gosh, I can't. What's Tasha's married name? She's married to Joey. So Tasha designs and sells these T-shirts, and I am so glad I was able to finally get a shirt, some shirts from Tasha, and these won't be the last. And she's our cousin, and she's Lucille McShan, her
More. Hmm.
daughter, and Frank Moore's. Uh, who their union, their daughter, and
Yep.
so we are just so I'm excited. I was so
Yeah,
excited.
I like that.
I am so excited about this shirt. So, okay. And then also, I want to say this before we're praying for the Gordon family, the family of Bill Gordon. And then we're praying for the D. Horney family, the family of Pastor Jerry D. Horney. So we're
Yes.
praying for those families, and Jerry's funeral will be Saturday at Mount Olive Baptist Church in Denison at 2:30 p.m. Bill's funeral is going to be at Trinity Lighthouse. This is the information that I got. At Trinity Lighthouse at 11 a.m. on Saturday. So we're keeping the families in our thoughts and we are praying for the families. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, at this time, I'm turning into the capable hands of my sister Merethah.
Right. So my topic, as she said, was Black inventors that changed the world. Okay, we know we are all talented people, and we know that most of the things that we have here in these United States and around the world wouldn't be possible without our people, the contribute that we have made, they have made to this world,
Mhm.
And so I just wanted to let y'all know some of the things that you didn't know and I didn't know at the time before I started reading this that was invented by our people. All right. So this is some of the inventions that were made and some of the people that made them. Dr. Lonnie Johnson. He's the inventor of the super soaker. You know the super soaker that your children love so much in the summertime. They go out there and soak and shoot each other with. That was invented by Dr. Lonnie Johnson. Okay, it
Okay.
says, did you know that Philip Downing invented the street mailbox? I bet you didn't know that Joseph H. Smith invented the sprinkler. Last year, we briefly wrote about Incredible Women Behind Hidden Figures book and recent major motion picture. Luckily, there are many more cases just like theirs in the U.S. and world history. What kind of contributions to science and tech have Black inventors made over the years? Many of these innovations and inventions are integral to our society and impressive accomplishments on their own. Yet, despite strong racial bias that continues to this day, these bright minds overcame intense and long-standing disadvantages to benefit the system of oftentimes overlook their capabilities, potential, and even humanity. For that reason, we think they deserve extra special consideration. Join us in celebrating these people's intense determination and intelligence, skill against all odds. And this is from Edgy App / Black History Month special. This was written by Juliet Childers. She was a Caucasian woman. All right. So to start off with, they talk about Elon Musk and all of them. But after this. Okay, first up, we'll take a look at Black inventors in the world of computers and telephones. We have Shirley A. Jackson, touch tone telephones, supercomputers, and netcom. Black inventors made a special mark on the fields of computers, telephones, and the internet. Mark Dean, a noted IBM engineer, led the design team for the ISA bus. He also spearheaded the color computer monitor and was a collaborator in the first gigahertz chip. This eventually allowed computers to connect to devices like printers, monitors, etc. Similarly to other Black women in history, Shirley Jackson, this in this picture up here, contributed multiple advantages in her fields. Her work led to fiber optics, touch tone telephones, caller ID, call waiting, and even solar cells. Otis Boykin invented the Peacemaker that also worked with IBM computers. He invented more than 25 electronic devices, including chemical air filters, burglar proof cash registers, and electronic resistors that control missiles. Now, ain't that something for you? Dr.
Okay.
Philip Dr. Philip Imagwale, if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, please forgive me, um, is sometimes credited with inventing the world's first supercomputer, capable of performing 3.1 billion calculations per second. Philip's
Mhm.
work is often associated with the advent of the internet as we know it. However, there has been some disclosure as to his actual contribution to the computer and the network development over the years. Lauded as a telecommunication entrepreneur and pioneer, Emmett McHenry founded Netcom Solutions. But Black inventors also gave us technological building blocks and devices we still use today. All
Mhm.
right, it says modern Black, the woman behind Skype, Magic Jack, and more. Her name is Dr. Marion Croak.
Okay.
Skype, Magic Jack, Vonage, and other internet-based audio, video, and text communication applications wouldn't be around if not for VIOP technology.
Okay.
Um, Voice over Internet Protocol was invented by Dr. Marion Croak, an
Okay.
African American PhD holder in quantitative analysis from the University of Southern California. Dr.
Okay.
Croak started her career at AT&T, where she worked for over 30 years and served as Senior Vice President of Research and Development of the company. She predicted the IP and internet would be a hit, which motivated her to develop a technology that would transform the internet. And
Mhm.
voila, thanks to her, we now enjoy the perks of VIA, like Skype calls, video conferencing, and online messaging.
Okay.
Dr. Croak, she holds over 125 patents in biop technology and manages more than 2,000 engineers and computer scientists responsible for AT&T's enterprise and consumer wireline and mobility services. She's also currently serving as Google's vice president of engineering.
Okay.
See, I mean, they try to tell, not only did our people build this country brick by brick, road by road. Now look, without just like they said, without her, we wouldn't be able to be doing this. What we're
Mhm.
doing now. Isn't that amazing? But they try
Okay.
to hide it from us. And it's okay. Because now we know. We knew then. We had our speculations. But now you can't hide it anymore. All right. This says video game animation. One of the very first cartridge based video game systems came from Gerald A. Lawson. Jerry, as he was called by Fairchild Semiconductor in the 1970s. He also belonged to Homebrew Computer Club alongside Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. While they,
Okay.
Jerry helped invent Fairchild Channel F, and he was also pictured below. So he, Steve Wozniak, I know people know who he is, and you know who Steve Jobs is. So he right
Okay.
there with them. And they never say his name. I'd never heard it before, but we know those other two. All right.
Okay.
Lisa Gelobter helped develop early web animation that led to
Okay.
the event of Shockwave. She also
Okay.
worked with online video clips Hulu, shows, and her work even took her to the White House, serving as Chief Digital Service Officer in the Department of Education. Some of the most famous animation in history came from Mark Hanna. Having worked in icon Hollywood films like Jurassic Park, Mark co founded Silicon Graphics in 1982. He also created unique programs including Indigo, Indie Graphics, and Personal Iris. Hanna's company, technology, helped create Terminator 2, the intro to Monday Night Football, used
Okay.
his program as well as various military, engineering, and research initiatives. So that's the home security, homes, a
Okay.
sound and home security. This is the next one.
Okay.
Have you ever used a microphone? Then you need to thank James E. West. James and Gerard M. Sessler developed electroacoustics,
Mm-hmm.
transducer electric
Mm-hmm.
microphone in the
Mm-hmm.
1960s. Their
Mm-hmm.
concept was as good as 90% of the microphones used today uh, follow the original design. Other Black inventors made forays into the audiovisual world too.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, what has become modern day home security systems, all that started with a Black woman. Her name was Maria Van Britten Brown. She wanted to feel safe at home. She developed a home security system using peepholes, cameras, and radio controlled wireless systems. The
Okay.
system relayed images to a monitor. It also enabled the person watching the monitor to communicate with the person being filmed via two-way microphone. A remote
Okay.
control also allowed Marie to lock and unlock the door at a distance. So ring
Okay.
and all that, gone, Marie. That paved the way for modern closed circuit television and home security as we know it.
All right.
All right. Small changes revolutionized agriculture, medicine, and kitchens. Dr. Jane Cook Wright was the first African American woman to be elected as president of the New York Cancer Society, making her the highest ranked African American woman at nationally recognized medical institution. Dr. Wright is widely known in the medical community for her contribution to the development of chemotherapy treatment. She introduced the technique of using human tissue cultures in testing chemotherapy drugs instead of mice. Dr.
Okay.
Wright also implemented a comprehensive program to study stroke, heart disease, and cancer, and created another program to instruct doctors in chemotherapy in the late 1960s.
Okay.
Oh, look, we have people watching. Say hello. Uh,
Uh-huh.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Um, so, many people know Charles Drew, his contribution to medtech. In his short life of 46 years, Charles revolutionized blood storage. His refrigerated blood mobiles stored blood in a temperature that prolonged its shelf life. This further revolutionized blood storage and plasma banks for World War II. Echoing Charles's legacy of the refrigeration techniques, John Stanford patented and improved the refrigerator in 1891, a non-electrical solution used as ice-filled section that chilled contents before the 1889. Before that, in 1889, he also conceived an oil stove that conserved space. This
Mm-hmm.
made the stovetop cooking method more versatile and available. Innovations like these continued in other industries too. This keen attention to accessibility, ease of use, and maintenance yielding major quality of life jumps. Historically, Black inventors found ways to improve existing devices, make life easier for everyone. Consider John Burr. Though he did not invent the lawnmower, he found a way to enhance it. As he
Okay.
worked on a farm equipment, repair steel worker, John, he knew a way around machines. He devised a rotary blade mower, which he patented in 1898.
Mhm.
His mower was more maneuverable, clogless, and could get closer clip glass blade on the grass blades. In fact, his design hasn't deviated much compared to various manual rotor mowers and is still
Mhm.
used today. So
Okay.
that is just some of the, it's a lot more. It's a lot more. But I don't want to, take up all the time because I know that what you have is good, good because we always give good information because we go into the peanut butter, way more than just the peanut butter guy. They were talking about George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington and the Tuskegee Institute. But I just wanted to give because those people I had never heard of and those inventions and the things that they did, we're still doing today. And we're doing this because of her. Because of her. And it is just so interesting to me that things we during this time is when we learn all this because the information now it's readily available because we have the internet now and stuff that you can't hide now. And I've learned so much other stuff with not just this month, but throughout just studying and listening and things. But there are some things out there that we need to know about our culture and wonderful things that we've done and the things that have happened to us and that needs to be brought to the light and that is being brought to the light. So not just this month, but every month. It's not Black History Month. It's history. It's not just black, it's history. It's our history. And we just have to understand that. History is history. So this is our history. So we just have to understand that and be proud of who we are. I'm very proud of my ancestors, what they've accomplished. Because our daddy was a genius. Daddy was
Yes.
a genius.
Yes.
He was. And so who can go in a store and look at a tool and go home and make it and work better than one they had in the store? Come on now. Who had people coming over to watch him work to see how he did things? And there you go. Bring their business to him because they didn't have it over there. Come on now. Lester Pope was a genius. Hmm.
Oh yes.
So I'm proud of where I'm proud of my heritage.
And Mama was super too.
Oh, honey, that was a smart sister.
Yeah, Mama was super too. So we are totally,
Smart.
absolutely blessed above
Act.
measure. And then we have our family, our Butler side, the Polk side, the Keats
Yep.
side, the Berkeley side. There's so
Yep.
many in our inheritance and our lineage.
And
And
a
so we have
proud people.
so much to be thankful for, as
Yes.
so many other people. And it's a blessing that we, by word of mouth, have
Yep.
learned our history. And then also our history about our grandfather is online.
Yep.
It's in our heritage. Michael found it and put it in with our heritage where we did the DNA test, and then
Yep.
we are so blessed, and we're so many different uh, races, ethnicities. We're mixed up with
Mixed. Yep.
so many people, and
Yep.
all of those in us work together, and that's why we are who we are today.
Uh-huh.
Thankful and blessed for every race, every ethnicity,
Hmm.
every person in the whole world. But
Yep.
we need to focus on what God has done for us,
Hmm.
being thankful for everybody, but
Yep.
we need to focus on our story,
Hmm.
her story, and his story. And his story has been the word that we've used for so many years. And then, like I guess it was last year or something, the Lord put on my mind her story. You know,
Hmm.
her story, but history packed it all into one. But
Yeah.
her and his story is what I'm going to talk about today. And first, before we get into that, I want to say that the Center for African American Church History and Research, the conference, 14th annual conference, is going to be held at Fair Park at the African Heritage Museum at Fair Park, and
Oh, wow.
Evangelist Glenda Williams Goodson is the founder of it,
All
and
right.
yes, and so it's coming up, and she has Angela Dye as the speaker. So you see the poster right there. So it's coming up on the 25th, and so I did on Spoke Light On, did an interview with Evangelist Glenda Williams Goodson. We had some clickety clack in there, so hopefully we'll have time to do another one. But I want to give her that time and do this promotion right here on Point of View. And it is the 25th, that's next Saturday, and it starts at 9 a.m. and it's going to 3 p.m. And there is a registration donation of $50, but there's a great meal included, and you get all the perks of the history, the speakers, and all of that. So it's going to, and then the registration deadline is tomorrow, the 17th. It's tomorrow, so get your registration in. But if you have a problem with your registration getting it in tomorrow, please contact Evangelist Glenda Williams Goodson, and she can take you further on that. But we don't want you to not attend. Okay, so just get in touch with her. So it is the CAACHR History Conference. It is going to be the 25th of this month, starting at 9 a.m. at Fair Park at the African
Right.
American History Museum. All right, so we'll put that in there. Hey, yes, yes, yes. And so my topic today is the importance of her slash his story. And then I have some articles, one from Psychology Today and one from greatergood.berkeley.edu. So I'm going to start with the Psychology Today because it is very important. If we wouldn't know anything about ourselves if somebody had not told it, word of mouth, and then some people wrote it down. And this is why we're here today, because we know much of our story. So this is Psychology Today. It's Deborah Kashaba, Psychology Today. How we story our life experience matters. How we story our life experience matters. So make your story one of meaning, wisdom, and resilience. And she did this in March 19th of 2014. And what she goes on to say, a man is always a teller of stories, and this is by Jean Paul Sartre. It's a man always a teller of stories. He sees everything that happens to him through them, and he tries to live his life as if he were telling a story.
Hmm.
And so I want to say about the song that I played in the beginning, Where Are We Now? How do you know what to do when you don't know what needs to be done? How do you know which way to go when you don't know where you're coming from? How do you know what to say when you don't know what's been said before? They say we've got a long way to go. But can you tell me? Can you tell me where are we now? If we didn't have her story, his story, we would know where we came from. We would know which way to go. But because of her and his story, we are on the move. So that is by Miss Shirley Polk. You can get it online. Just type in my name, where are we now, and you'll be able to get it for yourself. And I'll, before we go off the air, I think I'll play the second part of it. So all of us have a point of view. How about that? On the things that happen to us that we articulate in form of a story about our lives. We story family struggles, the loves of our lives, friendships, and ups and downs of circumstance and the ways we manage them. We even story the funny things that happen to us through the day. Our stories disclose our goals and aspirations, our fears, our identity and self worth, the roles we choose to play in life, the way we handle adversity, and the values and beliefs that we hold dear. We may not choose what happens to us, but the stories we give to experience are ours alone. We can't choose what happens, but we can tell the story about it. And so, like I said, I journal, and it is a habit now. I've been journaling for years, and I mean, when my children and grandchildren see all those journals, they can go through there. They can see what I ate that day. They can see what I did. They can see all of the experiences that I've had through the years in those journals. And so it's so many of them now, I don't know whether I'll ever have time to just sit down and get them, organized into a book. I might be able to, I don't know. But anyway, that's what I do. My story is in those journals. And some are not, because of live experiences that I've had with the children and the grandchildren and with my family, that they can tell, y'all can tell yourselves, because we cannot put everything down, but somebody knows my story. Somebody knows my story. So it's so important that we share our stories. So it's easy enough to narrate the good times in our lives into meanings that fit with our purpose, goals, and dreams. But it's harder to make sense of experiences that turn our lives upside down and challenge all that we know, believe, and trust. How are we to understand such experiences? But even more, how do we integrate their meanings into a cohesive narration of our lives? How do we make it fit in? So there is, she talks about a scandal that happened in 2006, and I'm going to skip that scandal. So this is Psychology Today, okay? So you can go and read it yourself. I'm going to skip that and go on down to some more information. So, is your story moving you forward or keeping you in the past? So, that's a great question. Is your story moving you forward or keeping you in the past? Think about it. The problem is that not all personal stories are the same in terms of promoting our welfare and helping us to meaningfully move from points A to B in our lives, and to do so in a way that allows us to endure, learn, and grow. We may prefer understandings that limit our development from one stage of life to another. Our stories may emphasize blame and victimization that pin us to the past. And this lady they were talking about, they mentioned her again. But in her story, she concluded that divorcing her husband was not the story that she wanted to tell. And she said it doesn't matter if she was right or wrong, or if you or I would do the same. What matters is that she is expressing a personal point of view that at the end of the day is the story of hers that she wanted to tell. So only she will know, and us, when we tell our stories down the road, what this chapter means to the rest of our lives. Our story now, down the road, we might understand what it means right now. So, the personal story approach to change. There are two schools of thoughts, according to Psychology Today, to Deborah, according to her. There are two schools of thoughts in therapy with regard to the way to bring about change. We can change our behavior or change our dialogue. And I want to say hello, Becky. Hello, everyone that's watching us. Thank you so much for being. I saw Rebecca's name, our sister Rebecca. So we can change our behavior or change our dialogue. The personal story approach to change emphasizes the latter. This approach is at the heart of a popular psychotherapy called narrative therapy. Here, the people learn how to reflect upon and organize their thoughts and feelings into a meaningful dialogue about their lives and the things that happen to them, good or bad. And we all need to be able to categorize them and put them in perspective and be able to learn from them. Okay, so how do you know if the meanings we give to a life happening are more right than wrong? If it's really right for you, you will feel freer and ready to move forward with your decision and life. The meanings you give to the experience will highlight needs and desires and make sense with the features of the life you've lived thus far. Two, TOO, you will have a certainty in heart, mind, and spirit that minimizes your doubt. The line between what is right or wrong for you lessens. Okay, lessens, as you have intuited meanings that move you forward and give greater fulfillment. As you can imagine, this activity isn't easy. You have to deeply immerse yourself in authentic and sometimes very painful reflections to make sense of such difficult times. We have to consider all of the times, not just the good, not just the bad. We have to look at everything and then move from that in a positive way that's best for us. We are not just looking to turn lemons into lemonade by ignoring negatives or putting a positive spin on things. Oh, quite the contrary. Okay? The reflective process that asks, who am I going to be in this story? What do I really believe and what do I really value and what's worth fighting for me, can
Mm-hmm.
be a daunting psychological and spiritual task. You have to first consider your thoughts and feelings, even the ones that you may be trying to avoid or deny. And so this lady that they were talking about had feelings of betrayal, fear, and doubt. And we've all had those feelings of betrayal, of fear and doubt. So she may have wondered why she didn't know this part of her husband. He did something. And we've been in relationships, maybe everybody hasn't, but we've been betrayed. And then in some relationships, people who might have betrayed somebody, and I hate to say but then when I'm on here, I have to be truthful and I have to be
Yeah.
real. It's not always the other
It's
person's
no, it's not.
fault.
No, it's
Sometimes
not.
we're at fault too. Okay. And I hope I haven't betrayed anybody, but if I have, I ask for forgiveness. But I cannot think of it because okay, so she may have wondered why she didn't know this part of her husband. Sometimes we don't know. Things can be going on right in our
And
faces sometimes, right in our homes, and we have no idea that these things are happening until
yep,
they are revealed.
yep,
That's why I can have compassion and sympathy and even sometimes empathy for things that happen and they come out and people say, well, I had no idea. I didn't know this was going on because sometimes people don't know what's happening right, right there with them.
and people are
And
so quick to say she should have known. Yes, she did. That's the house.
right.
That's his house. They
I'm
should
a,
have known.
I'm a living witness that you don't always know
Yep,
what's going on right there where you
yep.
are. I know for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
So she may have wondered why she didn't know this part, or she realized that she always knew this about him, but chose to look the other way. Now, some people choose to look the other way too. Whatever she found, she had to face her inner world squarely. Had to face it. We have to face this. Now, second, generate the understanding and meaning from this process that opens you to the role that best serves the aims, the
Mm-hmm.
goals, and purpose of your whole life. Who are you? Is the question here. You may decide that you need to exercise more self oriented aims at this stage of your life. Perhaps you decide that a complete game change is wrong for you because you've been living the life that feels most authentic to you. I don't know the details of this lady's thought process. She tells us, she said, but from her decision, I can imagine it went something like this. I have lived by the religious principles of forgiveness. What matters most to me now is it hurt and is it my hurt and disillusionment with my husband are the principles on which I have based my life. It seems by her story that she's fighting more for her principles than even her marriage. This is how she understands and gives meaning to this hard time in her life. Third, then you have to pick up on stories already inside of you that perhaps you have forgotten, missed, or lost. These stories that have been pushed into the background of your awareness often contain aspects of your personality that you can use to start a new chapter in your life. Many years ago, a patient, she's talking about a patient now, a patient of mine was diagnosed with a life threatening illness that required him to have a stem cell transplant. This led to a series of losses that led to him being wrongfully terminated from his job. Let me get this off of here just at the time when he needed their support. He was a very successful businessman, pulling down six figures a year. Everything about this man screamed Wall Street. But so much had changed for him at this time. He had to reach deep inside of himself to find parts lost in the decisions that he had made in life so far. He recovered the teacher in himself. He had never really thought about himself in this way. But in his early teenage years, my patient started to care for others when he lost his father. This thrust him in the role of taking care of his mother and siblings who never assimilated fully into the American culture. He helped to support them financially and taught them how to get their needs met within the American culture. The teacher emerged into his awareness. Well, to cut to the quick, he began to work for a nonprofit agency that found donor matches for people who needed stem cell transplants. And of course, with his business savvy, you better believe he helped this agency grow to a newer, more prosperous level. This storyline was truly a game changer for him. So, the story framework that results from these three steps should serve as a bridge to your future. This is the storyline that will be most instrumental to your personal growth. How will you know it? Your gut resonates deeply with your story. Yes, that's right. You will say, okay? And your whole body will relax in response to it. So she said, I've said many times to my patients over the years, is this how you choose to story this part of your life experience? Be careful because the story you wish to tell about what happens to you now is really all you have in the end of life. You
Hmm.
are narrating this life chapter as you see it. Be sure it's the story that you wish to tell and that it gives you many options from which to carve out the next chapter of your life. And then she
Hmm.
goes on to say, I hope today's post gave you much food for thought about your own lives. You deserve the best life possible. And I reiterate that you we deserve the best life possible. Make sure how you are formulating your life experience into a personal story allows you to endure, learn, and grow, and to narrate the psychologically and spiritually healthiest version of the life that you are living. And so she said, if you like today's post, say so by selecting the like icon to this story. And this is in Psychology Today. It's in Psychology Today. And I still have a few minutes. But how you tell your own story, who can tell your story better than you? And that's why I tell people, write it in a book. I remember when Jesus said about the lady, said, remember her. So this story, you write it in a book. So from now on, she will be noted. And there's a lady in the Bible, and Jesus said, tell her story, write it in the book, and you can read about what she did in the book. Okay? And I think it was the lady that anointed him for his burial, and she probably didn't even know what she was doing, but I believe that's the lady. Okay, now let me go to greatergood.berkeley.edu, and this is a Greater Good magazine, and why telling our own story is so powerful for Black Americans. Andrea Collier reflects on the role of storytelling in Black American history and in her own life, and this is by Andrea Collier. She did this on February 27th in the year 2019. And I'm not going to be able to finish this today, but I'm going to go into part of it because we have a
12.
few minutes. So, as we come to the end of Black History Month, I am reminded of all the strong narratives that have come out of Black American experience. Storytelling is our roots and wings. And I know one thing that was on my mind about George, I think it's George Washington Carver. He has so many inventions, and a few of them are patented, but he has so many that he did not patent. So many that he never patented himself. And they say he made the money, even that he made, some of the checks he never cashed because he didn't need the money. Money was not super important to him. And so I just wanted to tell that part. So Black storytellers, author Toni Morrison, Congressman John Lewis, and Senator Kamala Harris. And no matter who you are or where you come from, the human spirit wants, no, needs to be validated. And that is so true. So while story means so much in every culture and ethnicity, she said, I know that Black folk, no matter how they got here, are planted in story and shared lived experience. It's the way we witness. The late Virginia Hamilton, the author of The People Could Fly, a revered children's book of African American storytelling, said that storytelling was the first opportunity for Black folks to represent themselves as
Hmm.
anything other than property.
Hmm.
As Congressman John Lewis, a standard bearer of the civil rights movement and equity in this country, says, the movement without storytelling bird is like birds without wings. And that is so true. The movement without storytelling is like birds without wings because we all have stories. We have
Yep.
stories that need to be told. And that's why I was so disappointed. And I can understand that many people don't like to be put in the as they would say, the lamplight. But anyway, the spotlight. And that's why I have it's S poke, but I said spoke light on because I want to tell other people's stories.
Stories. Yeah.
Everybody has a story that
Yeah.
will benefit someone else. And so I was turned down, and I can understand the humbleness and the humility that they had. But it was two very important ladies that I really wanted to interview, but they humbly declined. And so I didn't get to interview them, but I did get one on camera. But I made sure that it was dark enough where her face wouldn't be shown, but I did get a little bit of her on video. And I was so happy about that. But when I want to tell people stories because everybody has stories to tell that somebody will be very interested in and that will help other people. Okay, Black folks come from a long line of storytellers. We seek out the stories that shed light on who we are in this country. We have learned how to tell the story as it came from Africa to Opelika, Alabama, from Commerce, Georgia, and even from a reservation in Oklahoma because we are of what Indian,
Mm-hmm.
now they say Native American
Mm-hmm.
descent. We are of African descent. We
Mm-hmm.
are of Asian descent.
Mm-hmm.
We are of what is the islands?
Colony
Hawaii,
Pacific.
Polynesia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that they said so much. And so when people start talking about, I want to go back home, I want to go home and see where I came from, we have so many different homes
Homes.
because we're from so many different ethnic backgrounds. So if I go to Africa, that's not the only home.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to Hawaii, that's not the only home. So
Yeah.
we have to separate these out. And then if we want to know where we came from, then separate them and then go one by one by one by
Mm-hmm.
one
Mm-hmm.
and see the customs and the traditions of the people.
Have to
Because
go to
we're
Europe
not,
too. Yeah.
hey, yes, because we have Caucasian in
Yeah.
us.
There you go.
We have so much in us. We do. So one place going to Africa won't tell you every place you came from. Okay, it will not. So I just thought that's a point. I think about things like that. We have to think about things. So
Mm-hmm.
we have so many places to go and so much to do if
Yeah.
we're able to do it. But
Not enough time to do it.
be proud, godly proud of who you are. Be godly proud.
That's right.
So it came with us from the islands and with the great migration. It is peppered with jokes and gospel and jazz and Aretha. Stories including the razor edged ones of lynchings and segregation are the ties that bind us. So are the stories of being brought up in segregated neighborhoods, traveling through the South, knowing where you could and couldn't go. There is no question that storytelling for Black America is a way of saying I am here and I matter. How many minutes? 4 minutes? We all need a witness. And she goes on to say, I wanted to be a storyteller all my life. And you know what? I am a storyteller. In elementary school, if we had some time left, I gained the reputation of being a storyteller, an entertainer. I could off just like that. I could get up and tell a story and entertain a classroom full of people. Just off the top of my head. Now look at my children now. They can do the same thing. And Miss Magnite, she said, Shirley, and she called me Shirley May. Come and tell us a story, and I would entertain the class just off the top of my head and keep them interested. And we would be laughing and just having so much fun. And this was in the fourth grade, fifth grade when I was doing this. And that God just brought that back to me. So I've been doing this a long, long time. So we all need a witness. She said, I wanted to be a storyteller all my life, but I didn't know how. I was looking for what the pros call my voice. Okay. I struggled with shaping my own stories the best they could be, but I felt like I had no roadmap because I didn't have the storyteller's voice, or so I thought. I didn't know what voice was, and I didn't know where to find it. It never occurred to me that as a young, and they say black girl, okay, as she said, as a young black girl, I was a student and a witness to the way to be a storyteller. I began to see that I had the beginnings of the seed to tell my own stories and those of my family. Whenever I make Sunday dinner, it is the voice of my long gone grandmother whispering all her stories in my ear. And I cling to the stories that my long gone grandpa told me about coming to Gary, Indiana from the South and building a life for his family. I still cry when I think about sitting on the front porch with him hours after my grandmother died. He told me all these stories about her 62 years, about their 62 years together. He needed a witness. The past weekend, she said, I attended a summit called Power Rising in New Orleans. It was a gathering of nearly 1,000 black women who came together to talk about strategies and social action. But there was something more. It was an opportunity for these women of all stages and ages to tell stories about their stress, their pain, their hopes for the future. Even when they sang and danced and cried, they were bearing witness to not just the stories of their past, but the stories of their future. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there, and God willing, I'll take up the rest of it on Tuesday. But it's been a pleasure. I enjoyed you so much, Maretha.
Thank
So
you.
much. And you talked about,
I talked about the inventors, black inventors, and their contributions.
oh
I,
yes, and there are so
yeah, there's so
many.
many more.
Hmm.
You know,
And
I
so
didn't do
we,
them all.
yeah, and so we're sharing what we have learned from history about the inventions that our people
Mm-hmm.
made, the things that they accomplished.
Yeah.
We know that we didn't invent everything.
Mm-mm.
We know that we didn't, but we want what we did to be known to mankind. It's been covered up for so many years. It's been the inventions have been taken from us for so many years. And not only did other groups take it, ethnic groups, but some of us took it from our own
From
people.
my own people.
So we can't put the blame on
Oh,
everybody else
mm-mm.
when we have some blame ourselves. So that being said, we love you. We thank you for being with us. And those who I haven't seen the comments from and seen your names, and Maretha hasn't seen or she's seen some, we thank you so much for being with us. Don't forget, tomorrow is the deadline for the registration for the history conference that is going to be held on the 25th. Okay? And then, Maretha, I love you so much,
I love
Tooka.
you too, Doreen. We have Demita, of course, Velma and Becky, and Sister Patsy, and then a friend Linda Haley was in there earlier too.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. We love you. All of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we all have history. And if you want to send us something so we can tell it, we can tell it. And even if you would like to come in and be on video with us to tell your story, come on. Okay. We love you so much. So we're going
Thank
out.
you.
Yes, we're going out with the rest of Where Are We Now? And I just want to say thank you. And so you can get this song, you can get it for yourself, or you can be riding down the highway or listen to it at home or whatever you want to do. Where are we now? I wrote this song with Saint Emmanuel in Denison. Alexander wanted us to do a heritage program, and he asked me to uh, be what is it? Just to be over the program. And God gave this song to me. And that year I had the vice president of Johnson and Johnson. I had Sister Carolyn Fee. I had so many people that came and were parts of the program. So I think, we have history that people don't even know about. But I'm just so thankful that God has given me the part of history that He has given to me. Now I'm going to cool it and let you hear the song. I love you, sister.
Peace. Two fingers, four fingers. I love you too. don't hear it.
Oh God, I'm calling on you. Oh God, I'm enlisting the saints to pray. Can you hear me? Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it?